For all the good the present government has done in managing COVID and steadying the economy, it has failed miserably, staring the Chinese in the face and calling their bluff about their devious designs in Ladakh and Arunachal Pradesh. It can be argued that what is the need for doing this in the first place? And should we descend to the level of global times and the PLA PR machinery, which routinely distorts the picture to project China's invincibility vis a vis India? Bear in mind that the recent provocation of the Chinese unfurling the red flag in some section of the Galwan Valley has infuriated all right thinking, patriotic Indians. In response, the tepid and the almost no response of the government and the defense ministry to this provocation is not only puzzling and demoralizing, but rather highlights a glaring deficiency in our China strategy, which could cost the Modi government severely as time goes past. Hi, and welcome everyone to the CAA Show. CAA is, of course, conversations and analysis, and my name is Juggi Bhasin. Before we understand the no show of the government to the Chinese provocation and challenge, let us first understand what is at stake here and what really is going on in the Sino India relationship. Some of you might have heard that the Chinese are practitioners of wolf warrior diplomacy, which they have been practicing in various parts of the world, especially in South China Sea, against Australia and even Canada, and against their own citizens in Hong Kong. Now it is the turn of India. Wolf warrior diplomacy is, in a sense, coercive diplomacy. It really means scaring the other side into subjugation without actually firing a bullet. And this is the part we still don't get or fully comprehend. For instance, in the present provocation, after the Chinese media showed their flag being unfurled in a location almost 2 kilometers away from the Galwan Valley, we responded after more than 24 hours by releasing a photo of Indian soldiers armed with SIG 716 automatic rifles with the Indian flag unfurled behind them. The photo, of course, did bring some cheer to our side, but by then the damage had been done. There is doubt now in our mind that what is really going on at the Galwan Valley, and have we lost control of it? Once again, the Chinese have scored without firing a single bullet. And that is the point of this entire episode. Modern warfare is increasingly about perception rather than hot action on the ground. In the Galwan Valley clash, both sides lost troops, but the Chinese scored one up on us by posting video upon video of traumatized Indian soldiers near the riverbank walking in a disheveled manner. In all probability, the videos were fake, but they created disquiet on our side, and frankly, what did we do to counter their pernicious propaganda? Nothing. Nothing at all. As a matter of fact, we set ourselves up by offering sweets to Chinese troops just 48 hours back. The fact of the matter is this. The problem with the Chinese is long haul, and we need to think of ways where we simply do not react to what they do, but we take the initiative to set the agenda and the narrative. Now, that does not necessarily mean raids on their sides or deadly action, even though we should always be prepared for that eventuality. It means fighting their pernicious communication outreach with the same intense fire. We have to singe them where it really hurts them. And the way to do that is not to rely on a few TV news channels doing macho programs or retired generals droning on and on about our military prowess. The strategy of encouraging retiree soldiers to bolster the cause is honestly old hat. It is not really effective. Rather, instead of a bespectacled bureaucrat in the MEA giving a tepid briefing or a retiree soldier espousing the military's cause, we need dashing, energetic senior military officers in full regiment uniform giving a no holds barred, tough briefing on the situation and countering the lies of the Chinese military and even warning the Chinese to stay within limits if they breach red lines. That is what the people in India are thirsting for. A tough, no holds barred, eyeball to eyeball response from our side, regular military briefings, beating the Global Times and the PLA at their own game. We should not worry whether tough words from our side will even more adversely affect relations between the two countries. The Chinese need our markets more than we need their low-cost goods. For all their bluster, they will think 10 times before confronting us openly on the battlefield. And the reason being is because in a sense, they are bullies. And in a real conflict, a bully is the first one to get exposed. The Chinese know if they get clobbered by us in a real conflict, it would crash their aggressive, macho image they have built for themselves in the world. Their capacity to sustain even a few casualties is very limited. The thing they fear most is loss of face in a battlefield. And besides, don't forget the wolf warrior syndrome of the Chinese. I would cut out the warrior part of it because the Chinese have not exhibited any warrior-like qualities in the last so many decades. The last hot war they fought was way back in 1979 with the Vietnamese, where the Vietnamese army humiliated and defeated them. After that, they have been relying on bluff and bluster to win the battles. And if we accept they are the wolf, then remember, a wolf seldom attacks open-chested. It always circles and stalks its prey. In fact, we need to adopt our very own tiger diplomacy where we maul and attack first when challenged and ask questions later. The day we give notice that we have a very short fuse and tolerance to Chinese deception and lies, the rules of this engagement will completely change. And for that, we need continuous briefings from senior officers both at Army headquarters and from the icy heights of Galwan and from Arunachal Pradesh to reassure India and send a chilling message to the Chinese. We need to set up a scorching pace on social media and television screens with our own videos, military briefings to drive home the message to the Chinese that we too can play the game and how. If we win the battle of perception, then we have won the war without perhaps firing a single shot. And that brings me to the close of this episode, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Do subscribe to us, and on this note, it's good night and cheers from my end.